أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. Uh, as a routine, we were in fact discussing Surah Al-Fatiha, but recently some of our friends suggested that we may discuss the last will, Wasiyah. We had earlier discussed this, I think 2 or 3 years back, but they wanted it to repeat. And Brother Anis has also posted those lectures again on the YouTube. And in order to honor their wish, I propose to discuss from today for a couple of weeks the subject of the will, the last will, the wasiyat. In fact, I had started discussion on the subject of will as a legacy, not merely as a will which we usually take from its literal meaning as wasiyat, and we try to interpret it by its just the literal sense and the literal meaning. But wasiyat in Arabic and particularly in Quran, it has a much wider context. Therefore, I had discussed this. The discussion started with the term legacy, and then we came to discuss the last will. Last will is just one aspect of it, one part of it. It is a bigger concept of legacy. So today, I propose to emphasize, rather highlight, that what is legacy, and if we understand legacy, then we'll be able to understand the importance of last will. And it is one of the reasons, it is one of the factors that today we don't have a coordinated, well coordinated financial system, particularly in terms of wealth in any Muslim society. And this has become the most ill administered or mishandled aspect of our not only social but the economic life also. So, but that we'll discuss separately. But start discussion with the legacy so that we understand its importance. Legacy may be an amount of money or any property. It can even be a patent, or it can be any skill even, which is transferred from one generation to the other. It can be a patent which is transferred from one person to the next. But in the limited sense, if we define it very precisely, very in small terms, the legacy may be the amount of money or property left to someone as a will, in a will, in the last will. So usually these two things are taken into account, money and the property, but we don't take other things into consideration, although they are also more important, they are also very important, and there are even more things which are very important in the same line. In law, a legacy is something held, something which one holds. This is a technical term in accountancy, in law, something which one holds. It's not that something grabs something. One, there are different aspects of holding it. Maybe somebody possesses a thing, but he doesn't hold it. Somebody may hold a thing, but he may not possess it. So hold is a technical term. I'm not going to discuss it so deeply. So in law, a legacy is something held and transferred, which one holds and transferred. Here, just for a little while, we may take into consideration one explanation from Quran. In Islamic jurisprudence, the inheritance opens at the point of death, at the time of death, at the saat of death, when the death has taken place. When the death takes place, the inheritance opens. So anything which is, what does it, the implications are, anything which is held at the time by the person who has passed away. It's not necessary that what he was possessing, whatever he held in the legal terms, in the technical terms. When the time comes, we'll discuss that also. It's as a legal aspect. Something held and which one can transfer, which one can transfer to someone as inheritance. It means when we have added the term inheritance, it means it's not that he can transfer to anyone. It's not anyone. The term here we are using someone as an inheritance. In inheritance, anybody or everybody is not included. Someone is included who qualifies to be the inheritor. And how its distribution takes place, that's a separate matter, where I have been saying so many times that Quran has mentioned the quantum of shares for male and female, but the actual distribution has been discussed where the relations are mentioned: son, daughter, father, mother, sister, brother. And then at other places in Quran, the qualification of these relations is also discussed. So anyway, something which is held and transferred, which can be transferred to someone who is able, who is eligible to inherit, and by will and testament. By will or testament, we can say, but some people say will and testament. That's better legally, that by will and by testament, by wasiyat. If one can make a wasiyat for somebody who qualifies to inherit that wasiyat, to inherit from the wasiyat. Everybody may not be able to inherit from the wasiyat. The people may inherit from the major part of the inheritance, but they may not be able to inherit from the wasiyat once it is made for somebody. For somebody. Legacy is that which passes from one generation to the next. This is the philosophy. This is the philosophy of the legacy, that will should be treated as a legacy of one generation to the next. Legacy in the form of property, in the form of a house, for example, in the form of a tree, in the form of a garden, in the form of orchard, in the form of money. The legacy that which passes from one generation to the next. It is not just from one person to the other. Usually, now it has very badly, wrongly crept into our society, in Muslim society, that the person who inherits, he thinks that it is something which is personal to him. Whatever he can grab, he grabs even the share of his mother, his daughter, his wife, his sister. But he doesn't realize that it is something which is passing from one generation to the other generation. And that generation are the members of the next generation who qualify to be the inheritors under the law. And it is a responsibility. Let me repeat it again. It is faraiz, defined by Quran as faraiz. It is farz, but it is not a right. It is a responsibility. That the responsibility is passing from father to the son, so that he can take care of the liabilities of his father. He can continue the legacy of his father. He can continue the legacy. He can continue the tradition. He can continue and discharge the liabilities of the family. He can continue to look after the mother, look after the orphan children who are younger to him as brother and sister. So these are matters of concept. We don't understand that. Here I have been dealing with these matters. Whenever there's a matter of discussion, people try to discuss it as if it is their right. And everybody tries to grab the thing as much as possible at the disadvantage of anybody else in the family, but they don't realize that it is a responsibility to continue the legacy of one generation to the next. This is the concept of the legacy. Leaving personal legacy involves more than financial assets. It's not just a financial asset. In the beginning, I have said it may involve more than money, it may involve more than property, it may involve in even patent and a skill. Financial, it's not just the financial assets which are bestowed on younger generation, the next generation, the new generation which is coming up, which has to be brought up. The inheritor who is of age, who is grown up, who is, say, the young eldest in the family, he has more responsibility. And he has to handle it as a legacy from one generation to the other. Now look at this, what is in the civilized world. Same is the position in Europe, in the advanced countries. Here I'm giving just one example from US. In US, legacy even refers to the person who's applying for admission the university. It may be on the basis of legacy. What legacy? For example, his father, his mother, his other family member was a student in the university, or he had contributed to the university, or he had made some service to the university, which has been recognized. So now that legacy of his elder is passing on to him. In US, legacy refers to an applicant to a particular educational institution, say a university, who is preferred. He can be preferred. Possibly he can be preferred because a parent or other relative had attended the same institution. If there is a contribution of the elder generation, the younger generation can enjoy in such institutions, even in matters of admission, on the basis of legacy. It is recognized in Europe, it is recognized in America under the law. It can be, it's not necessary, but it can be. In computing, this word is used in computing also. What is the legacy in computer world? In technology, IT, in information technology. In computing, legacy refers to software or hardware which was created in the past. Now new technology has come, new innovation has taken place, advancement has taken place, but still we cannot forget, we cannot wipe out, we cannot delete the old software because of its importance. Take the example of physics or chemistry or anything. Why do we still study Newton when Newton's many things have been proved wrong? Why do we still study Einstein? We study the subject of physics on the timeline of history. That this theory, how it was modified, how it was developed, how it has progressed from one person to the other, what were the flaws, what were the corrections, what were the amendments, and what were the improvements which were made in it. Newton still continues as a legacy. Einstein still continues as a legacy. But what we have done, take the example of Islamic jurisprudence. We are not studying the subject of Islamic jurisprudence as a matter of continued, consistent in terms of history. Historical jurisprudence. What is the historical jurisprudence? The historical jurisprudence is when we study in line what everybody then has to study, not the Shia or Sunni, they study separately. What Imam Jafar said, what Abu Hanifa said, what Shafi'i said, and then this legacy continues till we come to 21st century, that now what is the requirement today, how we can refine it. But what we have done, we have broken it. We have broken the chain. We have created separate loops. We have disjointed the bricks. We have made separate sects with each brick separately, with each loop separately. There's no chain of study. Similarly, philosophy is studied. Similarly, science is studied. Similarly, any subject of science is studied. But we don't study any Islamic subject, even history, Islamic history, in this chain. We study history, Muslim history, from the perspective of faith, not from the historical perspective. What the history said, we don't believe. We will always interpret Isa alayhi salam in the perspective of faith, not in the historical perspective. It applies to everything, everything. Shia and Sunni, the division is on the basis of interpretation on faith, not the historical continuity, how it has improved. The first four caliphs, Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, Ali, their election each time explains the constitutional development. In those circumstances, at that point of time, how the constitutional development took place in the Muslim administration. But we don't study from that point of view. We study from our perspective of faith. If somebody is clung to Abu Bakr, he will always interpret it as the history of Abu Bakr, history of Umar, history of Ali, history of Usman, and we don't study in the historical perspective with continuity as a chain. Therefore, we don't take lesson. This point will also come further when we discuss this. In computing, it relates to software or hardware that has been superseded. It has progressed, but it is difficult to replace because of its wide use. It is difficult to replace Newton's theories. We have to study. Even when we find that now these have been refined, new theories have come. Big Bang has been refined, but still we have to study the original Big Bang. We can't leave it. In the world of computer, legacy points out this aspect of continuity, of chain, the historical perspective. And that is the purpose of the last will, wasiyat. Why Hazrat Umar made a wasiyat in an administrative matter, that after him, how the election should be made, how the selection should be made, how the administration of Misr should be conducted. He made certain wasiyat in administrative matters, just to continue the legacy. At that time, continuity, the historical perspective of the legacy, historical perspective of the administration was very important to continue. In historical terms, now we come directly to study in historical terms. A legacy is something that is handed down from one period of time to another period of time. From the period of one caliph to the period of the other caliph. Legacy is not restricted only to individuals. It has a wider perspective in groups and communities and societies and ummah. Historical legacy from one caliph to the other, from the groups of four caliphs to the next and to the next in a period of time. It means something handed down from an ancestor to predecessor. But what we have done, we have separated the ancestors as a separate entity, and we have separated the predecessors as separate entity, and there's no connection between them. Many people are bent upon proving that Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, they all stand alone, separate. They have their own foundation. They stand alone on their own brick. They are not on the foundational raft which is constructed by all these together. The concept of legacy is considered a powerful life tool. Without this, human life, yeah, when we say life tool, human life, and in the animal world also. In the animal world also, the legacy is passed on, not only in the animal world, but in the botanical world also. The legacy is passed on. We'll discuss that also. The legacy is so important. We don't treat the last will as the legacy. This is the problem. The concept of legacy is considered a powerful life tool for all ages, from age to age. It acts as a catalyst for the social change. It provides an impetus to the next generation. If my father has left a house for me, if he has left a land for me, if he has left some skill for me to take over that skill, if he has left any tradition for me, then I'll pick up that thing as a catalyst, as a launch pad to jump off from that point to the next. Otherwise, if there was no such last legacy, I should have, I would have been compelled to go down in the past and dig out my own foundations, to build my own house, to create my own land. It provides a catalyst. It acts as a catalyst. It provides a launching pad. And from generation to generation, it becomes intergenerational wealth. Why we are poor today in the Muslim world? One of the reasons is that our poverty is not just defined by the poverty line. It is not just defined by the abject poverty. What is abject poverty? It is not just defined by the depth of poverty. It is not just defined by the chronic poverty. It is the basic drawback, the basic ailment in our poverty in the Muslim world is that it has become intergenerational. Our poverty is intergenerational, from family to family, from even if my father has made something for me, for the family, I have wasted it. It has not passed from one family to the next family, from one generation to the next generation as a generation. So that aspect of the poverty in the Muslim world, which is called in economic terms, it is called intergenerational. This aspect of poverty, which is intergenerational in the Muslim world, that is the most difficult nut to crack and move forward. It is intergenerational. Legacy is about life and living, two things. These have been mentioned together separately. This will become clear when we go further. Legacy is about life. It is not somebody's personal inheritance. That my father has left something, I must uh, enjoy it for my luxuries. It is for life. Life, which is a responsibility, which is a life, which is my life, which is the life of my family, and it is the life of the coming next generation also. Life, what is life? Life is a matter of continuity. Satan had lured Adam that you have been stopped from going near this shajaratan because this will give you permanence. You will continue, your life will continue. And Adam interpreted it as if it was personal, whereas Allah has already planted, Allah has already planned that the continuity in life is intergenerational. It is from one parent to the offspring. This is the continuity of life. Adam became immortal in this chain of life, in this continuity of life. Legacy is life and living, not only just life in these terms, live a life of an animal. Life and living, living as a human being. Human being who has been, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I've given him ikram, akram, dignity. Human dignity is interstitial. Without this interstitial tissue, this dignity, no other human right can exist. Other concepts of all other human rights emerge from and they are based on the foundation of human dignity, ikram. It's not only khalaq, it is with ikram. So it is a matter of living, living with ikram, living with human rights, living with rights and responsibilities, living with dignity. It's about now these three things. It's not just getting the money in the last will and squandering it. It is learning from the past, learning from my parents, how they made it, how they struggled for it, not just for the money, how they struggled for this family status, how they struggled for this family tree, how they struggled for this family tradition, how they struggled for this family honor, which I am enjoying today. All the experience in social terms, in the terms of sociology, it is called cumulative wisdom. The cumulative wisdom which has passed down to me, it came to me from my father. It came to my father from my grandfather, and not only father or grandfather, but my mother, my grandmother, my extended family. And now I have to pass it on to the nuclear family, my next family. We have to consider it in these terms that learning from the past, not only in terms of money, as I've submitted, not learning from the past and then living fit dunya hasana, hasana fit dunya, living in the present. The path to the next world, the path to the hasana of the akhirah emerges, goes through the hasanatan of this world present. If the present world is not hasanatan, then the next world may also not be hasanatan. It's not only in terms of poverty. Hasanatan is a big word. It has a big perspective. Hasanatan is in many words, many terms. It has many terms, meanings in many terms. If somebody's life is not hasanatan, which means it is not moral, which means it is not beautiful morally. For example, what does that mean? It means he has a darkened life, the black life. Light without life without light, the next life in the akhirah. If fit dunya is not hasanatan, most of the chances are that the akhirat is also not hasanatan, because fit dunya has been mentioned before, and then it is through fit dunya that the next world will be hasanatan. But we ignore this because we take the meaning of fit dunya and we take the meaning of hasanatan in a very limited sense. Hasanatan in terms of character, hasanatan in terms of amalan salihan. If it is not hasanatan in terms of amalan salihan, then definitely it is not hasanatan in the next world. Fit dunya depends on the legacy of fit dunya. That is the legacy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word, they will be the warisun of Firdaus. They will be warisun of Jannah. How they become the warisun? Inheritors. They have the legacy. Legacy is inherited. Legacy is inherited. They become the waris. From this world, they become the waris to the next world. From fifth dunya, they become waris to the next dunya akhirah. Hasanatan. They become, they inherit hasanatan of this world for the hasanatan of the next world. It has a much wider context. So we have to live in the present, hasanatan, and let us leave a legacy, hasanatan, so that it becomes the legacy, yeah, which becomes our virasat for the next world, hasanatan, and building for the future. It's not that we have earned from the past, we have got inheritance from the past, and we spend it in the present only. We have to add to it. I have to add to the honor of my family. I have to remain conscious of that. That how with difficulty my father, my grandfather, my mother, my grandmother, my family must have earned this honor in this society, in the family, in the intricate system of families. I must maintain it. I must add to it. And I must pass on this tradition to my children that they stand on their feet, hasanatan. Prophet, peace be upon him, says, particularly for the daughters, that if you raise them, you leave a legacy of the daughter on the right stand. Jannat is guaranteed for you because you are living a virsa. You have to build the future. You have to improve the future. You have to work for the future. But here, unfortunately, most of us are living in the past. Ibn Sina did this, therefore we are great. I don't have to do anything. Ibn Razi did this. I'm living in the past. I don't have to do anything in the present, and I don't have to add anything for the future. What I have created, what I have added to the family virsa which I got. It is not only in terms of money, I'm repeating, already I have repeated many times. It is not only money, what I've added to the virsa of my family, to the virsa of my community. These things will also come as we proceed further. Now, this is very important. I had mentioned animals and zoology and botany, but this is a much wider discussion, definition, explanation, rather. Ecologists have observed that a young tree, new tree, which we plant, we are transplant or we plant new tree, sapling, a young tree grows better when it's planted in an area with older trees, near the older trees. They are living, they have observation, they have feelings, they are breathing, they have life. They watch other trees growing, they look at the experience of the old trees. They gain from the experience of the old trees. These small children, they hold the finger of father, they hold the hand of mother. These small roots of these trees, these saplings, these trees, they extend to join with the roots of the older tree. They create a network, like an internet network. The roots of the young tree are able to follow the pathways created, the traditions created by my family, by my father, by my grandfather. I try to travel on those paths. They travel on those paths created by farmer trees, the older trees, and implant themselves more deeply with the help of those old trees. I become strong when I hold the finger of my father. I become strong when I'm a young infant. I'm infant when I hold the hand of my mother. And Allah has created such a rhythm that when the mother holds the child in her lap, there is a synchronization of the heartbeat of the child and the mother. Their hearts beat together. They support each other. They add to the melody. They add to the rhythm. They add to the music. Over time, The roots of many trees graft themselves to one another, create a network, creating an intricate, interconnected, interwoven, but more important word is interdependent foundation under the ground. We don't see that, but when younger tree is planted near the older tree, underground, they have a network. Older tree supports it. In this way, stronger trees share resources with weaker ones so that the whole forest becomes healthier. That is legacy. And this is studied, observed, presented, experimented by the ecologists. So today I finish with this, and next time, Allah willing, we'll proceed further from here that how we should try to understand legacy so that we ultimately understand the importance of the last will which we leave when we leave this world. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzat amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك عن معصيتك وفضلك عن من سواك. اللهم فضلك ورحمتك اللهم فضلك ورحمتك أعلي كلمة الحق والدين وانصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. O Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. O Allah, forgive the brother of our Hanif who recently passed away. O Allah, grant to all of them your mercy and make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. O Allah, we have our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, our brother Rafat. O Allah, grant to all of them full and speedy recovery. O Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. O Allah, we seek from you all of the good, whether we know it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. O Allah, we have many of our brethren who living under oppression and injustice. O Allah, heal their trauma, protect their helpless, and grant them lasting peace and prosperity. O Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself in this blessed hour, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weakness have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.